I think my excitement is about the potential that there is. Jonas and Michał are working in youth ministry in the Free Brethren churches in southern Poland, and they've seen quite a bit of impact there, where they're really seeing some growth in youth ministry, excitement about networking in youth ministry across the region, and an opportunity for us to learn a little bit from them in what they're doing. I met Jonas and Michał at the IBCM in Albania, and I was excited to hear his passion and his desire to really share something of his vision for youth ministry. And I hope you'll get something of that tonight, whether it's here in the auditorium or online. But my desire is to see a spark. My desire is to see a spark that would ignite a fire here in Scotland amongst our youth ministers, our youth pastors, and amongst the youth themselves. And my prayer really is that this would be something that would begin a momentum and potentially a network that could happen to have an influence right across Europe, not only in Scotland itself. So these are some of the aspirations that we have for this evening, and just wanted to share them with you. We hope that you'll be on the edge of your seat as you listen to what's going to be said. But I want to take a moment now just to pray for Jonas, and then later for Michał as well, as he comes to speak in the second half. Our programme this evening is fairly simple. We're hoping to have about 2 35 to 40-minute slots of presentation, a small comfort break in the middle, maybe 5 minutes, and then towards the end, if we've got time, we'll have some question and answer opportunity. Then we'll meet downstairs for some conversation with tea and coffee. So fairly straightforward programme this evening. Let me pray, and then we'll hand over to Jonas. Let's pray. Yes, Father, we want to just pause for a moment at the beginning of our evening together and ask that you would come in the power of your Spirit, and that you would bless us, that you would bless this gathering, that you would bless those who are watching online, that you would bless the speakers and the listeners alike, in such a way, Lord, that we might hear you speak, that we might know something of your heart and your vision for the people of this world, but particularly amongst those who are young in years and age, whether teenagers or whether young adults or wherever they might be. We pray, Lord God, for a revival amongst us, that we might see you at work in the lives of young people today, that they might take up this important baton, the deposit that has been guarded and is safely secured in such a way that it's passed on from generation to generation. And so we pray, Father, that tonight you would meet with us, you would bless us, and you would help us. Be with Jonas as he comes to speak now. Pray that you'll just still his heart and his mind, give him ability as he speaks in English, and give him that ability to communicate clearly with us. And we pray, Lord, that you would be honoured and glorified in our time together. We bring you our evening worship now and ask for your presence amongst us by your Holy Spirit in Jesus' name. Amen. Jonas, welcome. Let's give Jonas a round of applause, and Michał as well, as they start to present to us. Thank you. Welcome.
Just from the beginning, you did well with waiting while we calibrated the calibration. So welcome also you online. May God answer your questions. I'm Jonas, yeah, and Alan said perfectly our names in Polish. Really, it's not easy. But I'm Jonah, and that's Michał. And what we do in Poland, we are serving with the youth. I like to call it extreme sport, because the youth ministry is extreme sport. Sometimes you really have to take a risk, or you will get hurt, or you run for something to achieve which God commands you to achieve, to be a disciple and make a disciple, and those disciples gonna make other disciples. That's not easy in a world that's changed too much. That's dynamic. But you have to know something about me at the beginning. When I was 6 years old, my dad told me that I can talk to God about anything. And I was a little buddy who thought about life really in a proper way. So I thought, hey, I've got 6 years old, and I will pray about two things. I was praying about wife, being 6 years old, and I was praying about being a missionary. And when I was 10 years old, I was praying like that. God, I want to be a missionary everywhere except with youth. And now, that's exactly what we do. And we are passionate about it fully because, and hang on with me, youth ministry and youth culture, youth generation is the very special generation. Because that's the only generation that has influence on every church areas. Youth leaders are the leaders of the children camps. They are impacting kids' culture right now. Youth leaders and youth generation in church right now is impacting, has an influence on the church culture. And the youth generation will have impact in the next 30 years if God let do it. When God will take all the generation to eternity. That's the only generation that has impact on the future, on the kids, and now. So that's a crucial point to understand that youth ministry is not playing games, playing some football, and just talking. Yes, it is also, but this is just a tool to do something more. So when we speak about calibrating youth ministry, it's all about calibrating, because when you hunt, you have to calibrate. When you hunt, you have to prepare proper tools, yeah, but there's something missing. Yeah, you have to be ready, yeah, but first, you have to know the target. If you don't know the target, the animal, the goal, the dream, how can you achieve it? So we will focus on some things right now about the youth ministry, which I'm passionate about with Michał. So when we want to share some story about Poland, when we found ourselves in that challenge, that we do not want to do just games with young people. We do not just want to talk with young people. We want them to be disciples, who God wants them to be, where God wants them to be, and how God wants them to be. That's something more. And them doing the same with others. That's something worth hunting for. But if you want to hunt, you have to know the target and to calibrate. So we try to recalibrate in Poland and to know the target. What are the questions of the youth generation right now? And I think, I'm sure that some things I will say about Poland, you will say in your country, or especially in Scotland, yeah, we've got the same. Why so? Because 500 years ago, culture was local. Right now, culture is global because people in Poland, Scotland, and China will eat the same food, will watch the same movies on YouTube, will hear the same sermon through their online web. So that's the point. We are in global culture right now, so many things I think we will say with Michał will apply to you. So what's the target in Poland? We don't want only to answer the questions. We want to answer their questions. Questions of our kids, children, not mine, but grandchildren, and youth in church and outside the church. Except we don't know them, really. Many times we answer our questions, but not theirs. That's the point. So what are the questions? What are the needs? Where are the targets? Let's hunt for them. I'll show you some clip.
Coś mi to mówi, to oblicze.
Przyjęło się uważać, że jest to Jezus.
Jezus Chrystus.
Pewnie bym powiedziała, że chyba mnie ominął w swoim życiu.
Żeby naprawił to, co popsuł.
Że go szukałam kiedyś, ale nie chciał przyjść. Było kiedyś coś takiego w moim życiu, ale jakoś No nie wiem, to chyba nie jest mi pisane.
Że chyba mu nie wyszło.
Dlaczego?
Że to nie jest chyba tak, jak być powinno do końca. Czasami się mówi, że na przykład chyba zapomniał za krótko tworzył świat, bo zapomniał o starszych osobach. Że starość mu nie wyszła, na przykład.
Ojej,
No,
daleko poszłaś.
No to pewno bym mu podziękował za to, co dla mnie zrobił. Na pewno. Bardzo bym mu podziękował, może nawet bym ukląkł przed nim. Jasne, że tak.
Co mu powiedziała? No nie wiem, nigdy się nie zastanawiałam sobie nad tym, ale to byłoby ciekawe. Na pewno byłoby ciekawe doświadczenie. Moja babcia bo chętnie będzie z nim porozmawiała, bo jest dużo bardziej wierząca niż ja. Ona siedzi codziennie w pierwszej ławce w kościele, więc ona pewnie miałaby ciekawsze pytanie ode mnie.
Że szukam go cały czas. I że wierzę w jego miłosierdzie. Nade mną i nad nami wszystkimi tutaj. I że go kocham.
Że dziękuję mu za to, co mi dał, bo czuję się bardzo obdarowana w życiu.
What do you think? We handle it. What do you think? Every single time I watch this video, it's 10th time, I don't know. I think how many young people in my country, in your country, in Europe, Asia, everywhere, believe that they were looking for God and God missed them. God was looking everywhere and missed the one. How many of young people in the church thinks, I was looking at him, but I think it's not for me? And how many of us now in the culture of ours thinks that he should fix what he broke? Wow. Now we're talking about real field questions, not our polite questions in the church, right? We have to confront with them. So that's Poland. You can judge your country right now. What are the fruits, outcome of that? For example, in 2020, we've got some statistics about committed suicides or trying to commit a suicide. And in statistics, they put countries with a percentage how many young people commit suicide in all the countries. And they do it by continents. Now we're talking about Europe. Poland, we're just talking about our country right now for a while. Just we want to know the target first to hunt. Poland is on the second place with the percentages of committing suicide. And my question is, again, wait, what? We have Romania, we have Ukraine, we have so many countries. In Poland we have iPhones, MacBooks, Volkswagens, sport cars, we have universities, we have all of we want. And some in Poland, there are people on the second place of the Europe, they think that the best solution for their life is to kill themselves. You see that need? What are the questions people asking? Where is the target with youth ministry? It's something more than just eating and playing. It's something more than a Friday evening where we gather together and play or read the Bible. It's something more. That's why I hate it and now I love youth ministry, because it's something more. But going further, let's think about your young generation, in your churches, in your countries, and I will say about Polish youth generation, about 6 most common lies they believed in, and throw them to problems or dilemma or far away from God. First lie our youth culture believe in Poland, and I believe the same should be in Europe and global youth culture, is in those secular humanism, where the point is, what secular humanism doing is leaving everything in place, but taking God from the center, putting on the back, and putting human in the center. And when you took God from the center, no matter what you put inside, it will always destroy you. It will always be destructive. So we took God from the center, but we are built to live with the God in the center. Our society, the world in Genesis 1 was created with the God in the center. Whenever you took God from the center, you're in trouble. Here's the 6 big troubles or lies our youth culture or our young people believe in. Inside and outside the church, not always just outside. First one is, I can only be sure of what I see. I think you know that. And if I can touch, if I can smell, and the most important, if I don't feel it, that's not true. That's why if I don't feel any more love, I can divorce with you. If I don't feel any passion in the church, I can run out from the church. If I don't feel it, let's quit it. That's the problem. Because Christianity is something more than feeling. It's about believing. It's about a choice. His choice to us and our choice to him. The second one is, I'm here by accident. You know that also. We are here by accident. This is all by Big Bang. But that's more. I'm here on that conference. I'm here on that online. I'm here in that church by accident. We live in a world of accidents where the world is not created by accident and is not led by accident. That's the point. It's powerful when sometimes there are youth camps and we say on the start just a normal thing. It's not just about your decision that you came here or the parents just signed you and pay for youth camp. That's not accident. So hang on for 6 days and give God a chance. That's moving for them. It's not accident. Something more than accident is in our life. Third one, that's increasing now, in this year mostly. Authenticity is truth. 30 years ago, what was moral was truth. What was fact, what was truth, was truth. I know that's not sounds grammar, but it is grammar. It was grammar. Truth is truth. Now, today, in youth culture especially, what is authentic must be true. So if someone is homosexual, but he lives with agreement of himself, he's authentic as a celebrity, as people in church, so they pray and they live homosexual life, but they're authentic, that must be true, because authenticity is true power in our youth culture today. It's dangerous, because not exactly always what's authentic is true. But here, you feel the opportunity for Christianity? Christianity has authenticity. I love that sentence. People don't always follow leaders who are always right, but they always follow leaders who are always real. Authenticity is true. And whenever we ask young people, what helped you to stay in the church? They not always say about sermons, about moving God in heart. Not always it happened this way, but mostly always they say that quite normal prayers to God. They just prayed authenticity to God. They love each other after the sermon. I thought after the Sunday meeting they will go and hate each other and so on. But they go downstairs, took coffee or cup of tea and biscuits, and they were just laughing with each other. And I saw no plastic there. That's why I thought I have to be there next morning. Authenticity is not always true, but always have an influence. That's opportunity for us. Fourth one, to find God, I must be religious. That's really dangerous one. And it's damaging not just people outside the church, but mostly people inside the church. That was my problem when I was 15. We have that convention that I have to be perfect to fit to God. And that's true, but that's half true. I have to be perfect to fit to the church. And we all know that people in the church aren't perfect. He only, himself, is perfect. But the point is, we think also as a young people, they think as a youth culture, that you have to be perfect to fit in the church. And so if you're not, let's not go there. Because everyone knows that you not fit there. But the point is, especially with the kids and youth from the church, if, like me, you are raised in the church and you know that you're not perfect and you feel that you're not fit into the church because you believe that you must be religious and perfect to find God, and then you were not raised up in the world, so you don't know how to drink, how to smoke, how to dance, you know also that you do not fit to the world. So you do not fit here and here, so you're nowhere. That's painful for youth, especially in the church. What's the solution? Just be church, where church is not the museum for the perfect ones. It's the hospital for the harm ones. Does our church build a platform or place to young people to confess to sin? Not to everybody. But if a young person confesses to sin, what we do, you know what? You're leading youth group and you have that kind of problem? That's not going to work. It's just kicking him out. But what if we would create a safe space, him to confess his sin and show that this place is not for perfect ones, is the place for perfect one who wants to dwell within us. That's it. That's what changed the young generation in our Poland churches right now, where they are on youth meetings and they say, just don't tell anyone, but I feel for the first time I can say something to you, what's inside of me. Finally, for the first time, they can confront with this, because someone was clever enough, one leader, to create a safe space for him to confess the sin. Fifth one, everything is going to be all right. Oh, that's a special one. In the last 2 years. Bombs are only in Afghanistan. Wars are only in Ukraine. Bad news are only in television. Suffering is only there, but not here. And when the suffer comes, when the bomb comes, when the war comes, young people does not at all what to do, because they are not prepared to suffer. And again, after a car accident, is a miracle that I'm standing. And what I've learned, what God led me, is that in no other topic, Christianity flashes the most as in the theme of suffering. Because every single religion is running away from suffering, is saying that this is karma, but only Christianity is not afraid of suffering, because God is not afraid of suffering. That's the cross. And God is the only place where he can use suffering. That's powerful. We have the tools, but do we know the target? Do we know the need? Sixth, the last one. There's more, but we say something about. Tak, powinno być w torbie. Sixth one is, I want to live here and now. And let's just focus and feel the mindset of young generation outside the church. You hear the preacher inside the church who is preaching, God's want to save you. Just let's feel it. God's want to save you into eternity. Everything here is not important. He wants to take you to eternity. What he thinks. You feel the problem? He's not interested in the life after 80 years. That's the youth generation today. He's interested how it's going to work today, here and now. And the point is, for me, and I see this in the Bible, God is not saving only our eternity. He's saving today. But how often we cannot communicate that to people? We say, it's a bad world, we will be raptured and we go to eternity. But what they hear is, So God cannot offer me anything here today. The point is that if you know your eternity, God will save your character here, your relationship here, your marriage here. It's not always be perfect, but for the first time, you will have Holy Spirit in you, if you will be child of God, to confront with it. God wants not only to save eternity, he wants to save present. That's what moving them. That's what they need. If you know the target, you know the tools. If you don't know the questions, how can you give answers? Jonasz, who you dream about young people in Poland and other countries. How you can answer the questions if you don't know the questions? How you can hunt the target if you don't know anything about the target? I try to move our thinking right now. So, what's your target in your church? Family, youth group, church, region. What are the targets? We can just pray about it and leave it, or do some work. And it will take tears out of our eyes. These are leading to four main problems in secular humanism without God. First is lack of purpose. You know it. We ask them, what do you want to do after high school? I don't know. What are you passionate about? That's the problem with 20, 12, 13, 40 years old people today. What are you passionate about? Actually, I didn't know. The older generation is passionate about worship, about leading the church, about what's God saying in a holy word. But now we just don't have that colors and tastes. So, what do you want to do with God in your life? Actually, I don't know. We have a lack of purpose. Then we've got loneliness. That's pretty funny, because we live in a culture of Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, 5G. We live in a culture of web, and yet we are lonely. That much like never. Sometimes the biggest thing we can do for them is not to be interested in evangelize them at the first point, but just to sit near to them and just be with them. There's no one in this world that is interested in them. Everybody is interested in their money, in their future, in their time, in their attention, but no one is interested in them, only Christ. So, Jonasz, let's be church who go to people and who just be with them. Third one, shame. That's why they don't confess to sin. They run away from responsibility because they do feel imperfect. And fourth one, hunger for authenticity. They are really hungry for searching people who are really authentic in walking with God. So the question is, do you feel the same in your country? How are you going to respond? The last thing about Poland is that this is our map. Colors are the places where our churches, not only brethren, all of the churches. The point is, in the whole Poland, 38 to 40 million people, we've got 700 churches of all denomination. Just in Romania, in capital of Romania, there are even more than in whole Poland. And just a statistic, even if we would separate a husband, wife and children and send them to every city, or the city, we will still miss 50,000 believers to reach every place. Feel the need. What are you going to do with it? Just pray. Yeah, that's the first thing. But prayer is not just talking to the sky. It's something more. Some diagnosis. AMQ, April 2004, in a list in terms of missionary needs, there were countries topped on the list, and Poland was on the first place. Poland, in this list, it needs more missionaries than 10,000 times more than Papua New Guinea, and 200 times more than Mexico. Poland. iPhones, modern cities, great conferences, and we still need what we miss We do conferences, but we miss the targets. We do youth groups, but we miss the goals. So that's a little bit about our job with Poland. So the point is, what's your target? Scotland, England, local church, family. When we know the target, we know the tools, but there's one point missing. We should talk right now about how to reach the young people in a dynamic culture when everything is changing throughout 5 years and it's speeding fast. But first, we should not question about how to do it, but why to do it. That's a more important question at that point. Why? Because if we know where the holes in the walls are, now we don't need tools. We need Nehemiahs. You know what I'm saying? We need persons who will fill and repair the holes in the walls. So for a while, about Nehemiah. Knowing the heart. First, knowing the target. What's yours? Second one, knowing the heart. What are we going to say about Nehemiah? That's my favorite person, human person from the Bible, and that's my favorite book. Here's my favorite one. I love that guy. He's a perfect leader for me. He's totally with charisma, inspirational. Oh, come on, he's good. But the point is, it was not his biggest superpower. His superpower was something else. What maybe you have also. What's that? What Nehemiah did, he repaired the walls. He led the whole country of Israel. He gave a new life to the country. He gave a home and shelter to Israel people. He started what Israel have lost throughout the history. Wow, that's good. Where it started, God used him because he was a great leader? No. God used him because he knew how to repair the walls? No. God used him because he was the best of the best? No. God used him because of chapter 1 in that book. And what happens there? Nothing. Or, let's dive in. I like to invite people to open the Bibles because that's the whole instruction of the life. But as I need English translation, because I don't remember that in English, as I have that on screen. But if you would like, you have opened the Bible because you may have dropped a tear on that page. And if you drop a tear on the phone, you can just, take it. But from the paper, you don't do it. You remember it. That's why I love paper Bible. So in the first chapter, we read this. The words of Nehemiah, the son of Hakaliah. It came to pass in the month of Tilsley, in 20th year, as I was in Shushan in citadel, that Hanani, one of my brethren, came with men from Judah. And I asked them concerning the Jews who had escaped, who had survived the captivity, and concerning Jerusalem. And that's quite interesting. Because Nehemiah is a slave in other country. He was born there. And he's not welcomed well there in a captivity. But somehow he has that kind of character, that kind of spirit, that he became the most wealthy slave in the country. Because his job is to lift the cup for the king. He lives like a king. He's got the best cars, the best home, the best roads, the best persons to know in country. And yet, what smashed me is that he lives in luxury as a slave, and yet he thinks about city he didn't saw. He wasn't there. It wasn't a culture of iPhones. Someone sent him through iMessage a photo of destroyed walls of Jerusalem. He was thinking about something which he didn't touch. He was thinking about purity of the people, living in luxury, and don't thinking about luxury, but thinking about them. He's quite different, right? That's the beginning of the superpower of Nehemiah, which all of us can have. And what happened because of that attitude? Third verse. And they said to me, The survivors who are left from the captivity in the province are there in great distress and reproach. The wall of Jerusalem is also broken down and its gates are burned with fire. And Nehemiah said, they do not obey God. Here you are. It's not it. He said, or he did, fourth verse, so it was when I heard those words that I sat down and wept. He was hearing about city he didn't even touch. And he said, and that was it. You know how long it lasted? 4 months. 4 months of weeping because of the city he didn't even touch. I was fasting and praying before the gods of heaven. For what, Nehemiah? You're living in luxury. Stay there. It's easier. Yeah, it's easier, but he cannot. Why? Because he was the man with whom God should like to share the burden. The burden was on God's heart, and he found a man who can share the God's burden. The same was with Moses, right? He expressed that badly. He killed Egyptian, but he expresses the need. The same was Gideon. He was arguing with God. And why God let him argue with him? Because he saw a man who was weeping because of the need. That's something better than professionals. God do not need professionals. God do need people who will look at the walls and just, God, I don't know how to do it, but you have to do it. I will not stop when you do it. We do not need professionals. Yeah, it's good to have them. We do need people who will cry over the need. And that's the point. You won't change anything. You won't change anything until you cry over something. That's a very easy thing to know from the Bible, but to practice. God, I want to be a person who you can share burden with. Maybe I don't have for now all of the tools, but I want part of your burden. Do you have some burden? What moves you? You here, you here. Are there kids in the town? Youth in the church? Or maybe unbelievers of all of the families in the church we have? Or maybe it's lack of teaching in the church. What moves you that you have the burden to repair it, even though you don't have tools maybe for it? What pushes you to fast and cry over the need? You don't change anything until you cry over something. And what happened next? That's where our project, which we'll be talking with Michał in the second session, going to talk. That's what we do with Project G51 in Poland. That's the whole youth global project of the youth ministry in Poland. And it started from there, from few people, older people in the church. One brother had 70 years old, and he was crying because of the youth needs. Then he shared that burden with another one, and another one. And then God just shared the burden with us. And we started, not professionals, but the people who had God's burden. And when God called you, He will equip. He will make you professional. What's the superpower of Nehemiah? Crying over the need. That's enough. That's enough. God, I don't want to live in just stand away. I want to be a people. I want to be human. I want to be your servant that you can share burden with me, and I will search for it. I want to fast. I want to cry because of what you cry about. That's it. So what is God? Is it here? No, wait. I have to show it. This is Benjamin, and he's after church planting camp for the youth. And he says,
Ja podjąłem decyzję, że nie chcę być standardowym
I
chrześcijaninem.
decided that I don't want to be a standard Christian.
Głosić Ewangelię,
I want to
chcę
share the gospel,
ale chcę przy okazji głosić ją w naszym kraju,
but I
gdzie
want to
jest
share
tego
it in
największa
my
potrzeba na
country.
świecie.
Because Poland needs gospel. He don't know what to say. But he's 12 years old, and he's further than some church planters, because he cries over the Poland. He's 12. When he will be 20, he'll go to elders if we will equip him and say, let's just use me. What can I do? You don't have to be 50 to be church planter. You have to have Nehemiah heart, and God will answer your questions or your burden while having 20 and being equipped. And then meet some people like Alan, like Jerzy Karzełek in Poland, and they wait for it. So what God's doing? King sees heart of Nehemiah, and God is creating opportunity. That's the point. You, Jonasz, are not able to create opportunities for your own. He does it. But he does it for people who share the burden. God creates the opportunity in a while. King looks at Nehemiah and says, what made you so sad? And Nehemiah says the truth. And what kind of king, not king of Israel, says, oh wow, what do you need? That's God working. God created opportunity for the people who want some of God's burden. And then in the second chapter, we read that when King asks Nehemiah, what do you need? Nehemiah doesn't say, you know, King, I never thought about it. Let's give me a week, I will pray fast, and then I will come back. Look what he's doing. You can read it after the session. He says, I need wood, letters. It would be great if I would get some guardians, because I want to go at the night. Wait, he's making it up in a second? No, it's a plan. And I'm wondering, when he planned it? He didn't know then that God will use him. So why he was planning it? He was taking shower and he was thinking, well, walls, wood, we would need wood. Oh yeah. He was eating breakfast with co-workers and was thinking, gods, we would need gods. There will be difficulties. He was repairing the car, he was changing the wheels on the winter ones, and he was thinking, at the night, we should need letters from the king. Yeah, that would be needed. And when God uses him, and when God creates opportunity, he's ready. Let's take a shower with God's burden. Let's eat breakfast with speaking with God. Well, let's change wheels in a car with thinking about what if. And even if God will not call you, he will call someone you can share your ideas with. It's worth it. I want to be ready for God, that he will put in me what he's gonna put in me. But the point is, your superpower is not perfection. It's crying over the need, which bringing God's attention. Moses, Jeremiah, Gideon, Abraham, all of them. Moving at the end. So, what Nehemiah do goodly is that he focused on what he has in the country, not on what he doesn't have. That's the point. What we do sometimes badly in our youth ministry. Oh, I don't have a youth leader. I don't have a worship leader. I don't have the money to run the youth group. Don't focus mostly on what you do not have. Focus on what you do have. Churches and youth groups are not McDonald's. They are not the same. And they should not be the same. So what do you have? That's how we help youth leaders and churches to plant the youth groups. We will be talking in the next session about it. I have me. I like to read Bible. I have those people who likes to eat and cook, and those who like to play games. So let's start with cooking and playing with eating, and then you just share what you're passionate about, last passage you just read. Maybe it's not youth group. It's something better. It's making disciples. That's it. Focus on what you do have more than what you don't have. And the most important part for me, I want to encourage you to look at the Nehemiah 2:10. That's one of the most key verses in the whole book for me. Let's read that. And we will end here. When Sanballat the Choronite and Tobiah the Ammonite officially heard of it, of what? That Nehemiah, some guy from different country, is coming here to the destroyed walls to build them, they were deeply disturbed. Well, God called me, God moved me, I have that burden to serve God, and there are difficulties. Oh yeah, it better be, because if they are, that means hell is angry. That's good. You either will be dangerous for heaven or dangerous for hell. So they are deeply disturbed, and disturbed by what? That's the point. That the professional builder came up. No. They are deeply disturbed that a guy with a charisma, with the gift of speaking came up. No. That the man with a big amount of builders and money came up. No. What does text say? Oh, that's brilliant. They were deeply disturbed that a man had come to seek the well-being of children of Israel. Well, that's it? That's what they were deeply disturbed? That's it? Yeah, that's it. That's what changed the world. They were deeply disturbed that for the first time in those destroyed wars, for the first time throughout the years, not for the whole story, because there were some people before, that a man had come to seek the well-being of people of Israel. Let's ask myself, if that's what changed the God's using me and the world and the youth ministry, so let's identify what or whose well-being are you about to seek. I'm not asking what would be good to do, but what moves you. Mixing English and Polish. Whose or what's well-being are you seeking? Dwight Lyman Moody was searching for well-being of children. He didn't know that he will be a great speaker through this mission. Hudson Taylor was coming to searching for well-being of China. William Carey of India. Moses of Israel. Jeremiah of Judea. What moves you? Whose well-being are you about to seek? I'm not asking about what we are going to grow in church. Yeah, that's important. But whose well-being are you want to see? Children in your church? Your parents? We are coming out of the youth ministry to something bigger, which youth ministry is part of. I want to see well-being of my church, and especially kids. I want to see well-being of the youth, which I see every day in town, drinking alcohol in the park, and they don't do anything more, because that's the purpose now of their lives. Whose what well-being are you about to seek? Why? I like that saying. I say it a lot. Because what changes the world is not what you do, it's why you do it. Let's for a while dive in it. What changes the world is not what you do, it's why you do it. It's not that you pray change the world, it's why you pray change the world. It's not that you do not sin change the world, it's why you do not sin change the world. Have you got any time a question, why you do not drink alcohol to be over alcohol? Why you do not divorce and go with that woman? Why you do not trash it all out and just go outside and go in other place? Why you do not use a vulgar language? You know what? I don't smoke cigarettes because I don't want to have yellow teeth. Even atheists do that. But I have got some answer, my answer, and the answer is when some guy asked me in my job, which I quit 5 years ago to a full-time mission, he said, why you do not go with us to a pub in Bielsko, south of Poland? We have a great pub, really great pub. I wasn't there, I didn't check it, but it has a great popularity. So I should say, oh, I don't go there. Why I don't go there? Jesus. Yeah, that's true, but they do not understand that. When they see Jesus, they see big walls, cold walls, and empty pulpit. That's it. So I say, you know what? You know my parents. He knew my parents. I knew someone who loves me more than my mom. You don't say. Yeah, really. And I've met some person who loves me more than my mom. Yeah, really. And that person changed my life completely. You see my eyebrows? I'm a choleric outside. I'm a guy who would kill people with a tongue. I'm a guy who would kill people in a career road. I'm a guy who would angry all of the time. I'm a people that kind of guy who would be going to pub all of the time. But some things change. You may ask why. And he said, yeah, why? Now I'm answering his question, not just taking gospel and just put it into him. Just listen, listen, listen. He asked me. And I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling him the truth. You know what? I'll tell you. That person is a Jesus. Yeah, I know. That sounds. But it's a Jesus. And I know for sure that he changed my life. And he was a part of the story which changed my life when he was loving me so much that he died on the cross for me. You know why? Because he just loved me. I do not understand it either. But he just loved me. And I know one thing, when I live with him right now, he changes my eyebrow, my anger, my ambitions, my potential to harm. He changes my life. He changed and is still changing. If I go there, I will harm his love for me. I love him too much to harm his love for me. He was listening to me. It was a big guy, and he was crying. He said, you really think God sees my sin? You really think I can harm him? I said, I think his love, yes. He was moved by that. It's not that you don't go to pub, change the world. It's why you do not go there, change the world. So why are you here? Question why. That's one of the most important questions today, and that's on the end. Why you do not sin? Why you're here in Tilsley College? Why not to stay in Scotland but go to Tanzania? Why to pray 30 years for people who are not good for you? Why to care for people you haven't seen even once in your life? Because it's worth it. And he changes everything. Here's the stop. What changed the world is not what do you do, it's why you do it. Thank you.